Hello and welcome to this lesson about histograms. The learning target of this video is making and interpreting histograms. So first of all, let's define what it is. A histogram is a type of bar graph that represents, and then here's a keyword, frequencies in, and then another keyword, intervals. And that's not how you spell that. Intervals. There we go. Okay, so a histogram is a type of bar graph that represents frequencies in intervals. Now let's break down what some of these words mean. So frequencies, or frequency, singular, simply just means how many times something pops up. So how many there are. And then an interval is sort of, it's kind of hard to describe. I mean, we could use the word like a domain. We could use even the word like a range. We could use the word spread. It's some sort of bounded area. And once we kind of go over and make some examples, I think you'll make more sense of what an interval is and how it gets used in a histogram. Now, I don't know about you, but due to all this sort of COVID-19 stay-at-home, save lives thing, I've noticed more wildlife in the world. In particular, I've noticed a lot more squirrels and chipmunks and whatnot just sort of running around in my backyard. Now, maybe that's partly because I'm home more and I can see it. But I'm also thinking, like, all the humans are sort of sheltering in place. Wildlife is starting to take over again. And so, I don't know, let's just say, for example, I mean, this is just sort of me making up some numbers here to help show what histograms are. I'm observing, how many squirrels I see in the morning when I'm posting my assignments on Classroom. So how many squirrels I'm seeing. And so let's just say on the first day I do this, I see 3 squirrels. The next day, super crazy, maybe I had a picnic outside for lunch and I didn't clean up that well, so there's 8 of them the next day. And then after that kind of tapers off, 1 and 1, 6, 10, 7, and 12. And so maybe I had another really big picnic or a party and I just did not clean up. And so the following day, there were a lot of squirrels. All right, so now what a histogram can do is it's going to allow me to take all this data and put it into a bar graph that we can look at and kind of make some sense of. And so first thing we're going to need to do is make a bar graph. Now, when we talked about the word frequency or interval, an interval is sort of a range, a domain, a spread here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down into a couple of categories. So I'm going to have my intervals, which I'm just going to abbreviate as I, being from 1 to 4, 5 to 8, and 9 to 12. So how many days did I see, and so this is where frequency comes into play, did I see 1 to 4 squirrels? Well, here, let's do some color coding. 1 to 4 squirrels. 1, 2, 3. So I saw it 3 times. How many times did I see 5 to 8 squirrels? 1, 2, 3. 3 times. And finally, how many times did I see 9 to 12? 1, 2. 2 times. So when it comes to making the histogram, our x-axis is going to be our interval. And so this is where the intervals are going to go. And what we're going to do is just kind of make little divisions here. And so let's see, I only need 3 of these, so 1, 2. We like to keep the bars next to each other just to make it easy to read. And then let's see here, I need 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's not good. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. And so our frequency is going to go right here. So frequency. I'll just abbreviate that F-R-E-Q. All right, so frequency goes on the y-axis. So now for my interval, 1 to 4. That happened 3 times. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. Boom. There we go. Shaded in. For the next one, 5 to 8, that happened 3 times as well. So that's just going to stay right up here and be shaded like that. And finally, 9 to 12, that happened twice, so 1, 2. And there we go. We've made a histogram, 9 to 12, and then this shows us how many times it happened, the frequency. So there was 3 days in which there were 1 to 4 squirrels, 3 days there were 5 to 8, and 2 days in which there were 9 to 12. And this graph helps us see that as well. So now let's take a look at another example. Kim has started rating each movie she sees using a scale of 1 to 10 on an online site. Here are her ratings so far. Make a histogram of the data. So first thing we need to do is sort of make that table. Actually, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move this picture over here, give myself some space. I want to make a table. And on one side, I'm going to have the interval. On the other side, I'm going to have the frequency. And for this, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use this right here to help me with it. Okay, so my frequency is going to be from 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, and 9 to 10. Now it's just about counting. So 1 to 2, I have 1, and that's it. So that happened once. 3 to 4, 1, 2. Okay, so 2. 5 to 6, 1, 2, 3 of those. 7 to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, good. And then 9 to 10, 1, 2. So 1, 2. All right, now what we can do here is a quick check. We should be able to add all of these up, and it's going to equal the same number that we have there. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 2, and then we'll add 3 to that, so we'll end up getting 6. And then plus 7 is going to give us 13. And then plus 2 is 15. So we should double check, make sure that we actually had 15, so we got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good. So now that we've got our frequency, we can go over to the table and draw it all out. And so in the range 1 to 2, that happened once. So that's going to be right about there. 3 to 4, that happened twice. So that's going to go here. 5 to 6 happened 3 times, so halfway. 7 to 8 happened 7 times, so right about there. And we want these ideally to be touching. It's okay if it's a little off. And 9 to 10 happened 2 times. So there we go. We have our histogram right there. So the final thing I want to show you is working backwards. How do you look at this and maybe extract some information about it? So the final thing I want to do is take a look at how to interpret this. There's not too much that's going on. I mean, it's going to vary by histogram to histogram and question to question. But the big thing is you should always be able to find out the total. So, how many things happened in, or how many events are there. And all you have to do is just take a look at these numbers here and then add them all up. So what I'm seeing is from the 4 sort of frequencies, I get 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. And so that's the hard part. Just make sure you interpret that as 1, not 0. And so then let's see what we get here. We'll get 12 plus 3 for a total of 15. And then maybe ask a question like, hey, what's more likely to happen? What's least likely to happen? And so most likely to happen is you're going to see, since this is about birds at a feeder, you're going to see 1 to 4 birds at a feeder. If you're really, really lucky, you're going to see like 16 birds. But the data doesn't show that that happens that frequently. It happened once out of 15 times. Whereas 1 to 4 happened about half, because 8's just over half of 15. So I just want to go over that so that way you can, you understand how to read these and interpret them. It's something that requires practice and just seeing the actual questions and the histograms that go with it. So good luck with your homework. If you have any questions, please let me know.